direct or fully loaded, for example, a Brocade or an I-10K, and the new one on the market right now, the 48,000 by Brocade, has 384 ports. Yes. I'm sorry. Crystal LC, correct. Yep. It's 3 years ago. Yeah. Three years ago there was one. Now there's about 5. Sun does it. A year from now you're going to see a lot more because the 40 gigabit spec in InfiniBand is being written and it should be finalized in the next probably 2 months or so. And one of those standards will be parallel optics. And it's going to need a way for existing infrastructure to get there. Okay.
Follow in the director of 256,000 versus it's great for the infrastructure. Yep. It's still breaking out on both of those.
Correct. And that's going to change. Anyway, one of the nice things about how the enclosures are designed, you really notice kind of 2 things from us as far as the enclosure design for high fiber counts is that, coming from the high fiber count side of the thing is our port counts and our LC adapters, even though it's small and its footprints are tight, we're able to manage some plug and unpluggability. You're actually able to get your fingers in a lot of the areas and not disturb the other fibers, and also be able to plug and unplug relatively easy. How this system works with the MTP and, for example, some higher-end directors, okay, is that we make these little harnesses fanned out through your discrete interconnects, and we manufacture a various number of brackets. And these actually can mount inside of these racks here, anywhere, whether it be a generic bracket or a L bracket. We can just anywhere you can drive a sheet metal screw in, it'll work. And what we do is we can actually pre-cable up these machines, whether it be a director, whether it be a Cisco switch, regardless of what it can be. And, we can have that thing pre-cabled up before your actual window of install, whether it be Saturday night or overtime or whatnot. And all it is once this is cabled up, you move it on the floor, and when your changeover happens, you're just plugging MTPs in. And again, you saw that about the 3-second plug-in moving forward. So obviously you want to get it. Okay. And as you're passing that around, you'll notice that whether it's LC or MTP or even any of our other connectors, standard product for us out the door these days as well. We're going to address those loss points. You'll see that what we recommend is round style cable. Okay, you'll see it on our MTPs, all round, there's no ribbon involved. And also on our LCs, we're on a simplex style round cable. First of all, using this style round cable reduces your cabling footprint anywhere by 20 to 50% depending on the size cable that you're using at zip cable. Or not even have to change technology just by using it. Now, we'll still do it your own way if you want, but at no additional charge we do this. Okay? And then round cable is just a heck of a lot easier to work with than zip cable that has a kind of tendency to keep this moving. So, again, just the advantages of using a system like this. It's scalable, it's extendable. Connector types, using those cassette modules, for example, if they change the connector technology in 3 years from now, they can show you a BC connector for whatever reason. All we're doing is unplugging cassette modules, keeping our infrastructure in the same, and just plugging new cassette modules in. Again, everything's pre-terminated at the factory, so again, it takes that expertise out of the field, whether we install it for you, whether you install it yourself, or whether we work with your installers. It just reduces installation costs, period. Okay, almost upwards of 80%. Those 24 fibers I plug in 6 seconds, I keep going back to back. If you, for a field termination or installers, the average price for those 24 fibers is about $4,000. Okay, that we just did in 6 seconds. Okay, fiber for fiber, it's the same exact cost. You're not paying any premium on it. So again, it's an instantaneous savings. Okay, reconfigurations are easier, build-outs are easier. You're just sliding cassette modules in and you're expanding as you go. And you have the ability to future-proof this. But most importantly, 70% of this money invested in this particular infrastructure you're going to recoup as an asset, as opposed to only about 10% going in a point-to-point or jumper solution over the years. On the the same concept, we have copper version as well. Again, taking that expertise, so-called, out of the installers and putting it into your hands. Okay? Same concept as a pre-terminated fiber. We use pre-terminated copper. Unfortunately, we don't reduce a lot of footprint with the copper because copper is copper. It requires a certain thickness and twist repair to transmit speeds. What we do is we package it very nicely. Pre-terminated, Cat 6 certified, again, guaranteed for life, and we do it with various different configurations, plug to plug, jack to jack, jack to plug, whatever it might be. And again, originally designed for patch panel to patch panel use, okay, with various different patch panels that we have. Well, we found that a lot of interest is falling on the front side for patch. Okay, it bundles these cables on the front side very nicely. We start talking plug to plug, okay? And the great thing about it is it forces you kind of into a best practices type scenario where it forces you kind of to cable up specific blades or chippets at a time. Okay? And whether you're doing 4, 6, or 12s, three patterns that they come in.
We're seeing issues with the money requirements where unions, they traditionally love to run strands and strands under the floor.
Yes.
We're adding money where
Absolutely.
they've been unwilling to put this under the floor, you would be paying them to lay it in.
I've had trunks show up in locations and had the connectors cut off, yes. So,
Does the industry see any adjustment to it?
yes. What I have been focused on, like I said, I've been doing this quite a while, what I've been really focused on is we write the specs, or we try to get in at the spec level, so we spec out things. When that specific thing happens, usually the customer is able to dictate what they want to put in. Okay, so again, that's why we're willing to work with those union contractors or installation people or whatever. If they spec the product in, the union guys are still getting the money for cable pulls and things of this sort. And I always kind of joke where that's what the installer said. Well, hey, you take the money away from me. I usually get this much money for 24 fibers or 72 fibers. I said, okay, charge the same thing, plug them in and go off for the rest of the day. But so there's a way to work through with everybody. Okay, but yeah, we've had one of these. Okay. Yes, sir.
Then the trunks then are specific length for
yes.
pull just as regular fiber would be.
I'm sorry.
If I order it and need to pull my cable guy just pull
Yes.
the same fashion and
Yep.
through the same thickness, obviously it's higher density and lower.
What you'll see is that the trunks come standard with the pull eye, so those connectors are protected. How big that pull eye is basically is how big that fan out junction is.
Okay.
So 72 fiber, you can probably pull through a half inch to 3/4 inch conduit. Again, it comes with a pull eye on it, so they pull through.
So the key is know your length.
You have to know your length, yes. Building out a system like a structured cabling environment requires us, yes, to do measurement. It's not that difficult once you get into it. You usually, put some extra in the loop because you always want to have a service loop. Recommend that you coil things under the floor. Recommend that you go out and you do a service loop in case you ever have to expand anything. You have that slack in the cable to be able to pull it. But measuring itself, and we have the capabilities in the house design to be able to assist you with it. Okay? But one thing when you're building things out, you really want to take some things into consideration. If you're going underneath the floor, you really want to think about a conveyance system. Okay, number one, it protects everything underneath the floor. It usually keeps fiber and copper and power separated from each other. But the main thing that does is establishes paths. Okay, because you never know when you might get trace up underneath the floor. Number two, we have the overhead conveyance system as well. Now, just a piece of advice for best practices. I've seen a lot more people going to overhead, all right, which is great. It's a great solution to do those particular things. But one thing you want to keep in mind, if you're putting jumper cables, fiber jumper cables up overhead, make sure that it's in solid tray. Okay, I've seen a lot of occasions where people are laying jumpers and ladder rack on top. And remember we talked about earlier, anytime they put pressure on fiber, okay, put bends in fiber, you're creating loss points. And what happens is the fiber over time, okay, starts taking the shape of every ladder point cross fence thing in the ladder rack. And it's creating loss points at every particular junction. So keep your fiber away from your copper up in those ladder racks and make sure that it's in solid tray.